Are we gonna play record?
1, 2, 3.
Hey.
Okay.
Ay, te acabo de tomar una foto increíble, pues.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. You got the mic?
It's on.
It's on?
Yeah. Okay. Just do the same thing then.
Go ahead.
Welcome to another Monday of
No one gets away with anything.
Today with you we are
Jose Rafael Chonetti and...
Ariana Lopez.
Wow, we're doing that better every day.
The intonation and everything is getting on
point.
Exactly. Okay, so today's episode is amazing. Because
Amazing.
we talk about amazing people.
Yes.
Which are
Our siblings.
brothers, sisters, and anything in between.
Well, do you have anything in between? A dog?
Brothers, half sisters.
Oh, right. I have a half sister. So,
Exactly.
yeah. But it's weird. Okay, let's start with that. If you had a half sister or a half brother, would you consider her half something?
No, I mean, I think it depends on the relationship you have with them. Also, like, you've been very close to your half sister. If you don't see them at all, I don't think you would really consider them
totally.
as, as close as your actual siblings. But if you do, then probably it's the same thing.
Okay, I agree. So I am going to start asking you a question. So what do you think about...
An interview for me, about me and my sibling life.
A psychological analysis, maybe.
That's what you usually do. Please entertain me.
No, it's not. The idea is to talk a little bit about why siblings are important for us.
I don't know.
So we've talked about previously that we have a deep familial background. So family, o sea, la familia es más importante. Venimos de un país latinoamericano en el que la madre, los hermanos y el padre son componentes muy importantes de la familia, and especially brothers, because it turns out that the people who end up taking care of you, who are most concerned with you, other than your parents, who sometimes are or aren't in the picture, are your brothers.
Your brothers is in brothers only, or brothers is in sisters?
Like, I mean, brothers and sisters. I mean, siblings. I'm saying brothers in the...
Me confunde horrible porque en español se dice hermanos, pero en inglés no dice brothers.
Claro, okay. Entonces, si estoy hablando de... Bueno, funny enough, my mom's side, the brothers, they call... todos se dicen herma. Para no decir hermano o hermana, se dicen herma. Entonces, herma.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you tell us your sibling story before you ask me the question, then I'll tell my sibling story.
Okay, so for context, we are 4 brothers, including me. So 4 siblings.
No, stop, you're not.
We're actually half and half. So we're 2 boys, 2 girls. From my dad's first marriage, it's with my mom. It is my older sister Carmen, who's turning 26 today. Happy birthday, Carmen! This will come out later, but happy birthday anyways. Her name is Carmen. Después voy yo, que fue 4 años y medio después. I am the second brother, but the first male of my family, so I'm the first guy from the Ochoas in my generation. Yeah. And then is my brother Juanchi, who came out 13 months after me.
You're actually very close.
Yeah, we're very close. We're almost like twins. Son 13 meses, un año y nada. Funny enough, for the story, I couldn't drink my mom's milk for more than 3 months, because after 3 months, this was no longer my milk. It was my brother's. Which is ironic, because my brother was born intolerant to lactose. So like he spited me from I don't know, from afar.
Your mom must have felt like super useless.
Yeah,
like she couldn't feed you and she couldn't feed
him. Yeah. It was weird. And then there's, after my mom and my dad got divorced, which happened when I was around 11. My dad got remarried and he had a child called Manuela, and she is now 8 years old, and she is the best. She was just here a minute ago, and since when we're recording this episode, it's near Halloween, and so she's going to pick out a Halloween costume. Yes, candy and costumes.
Okay, so my sibling story, it basically is my sister. My sister's my whole sibling story.
Aww.
And I love her. We are 4 years apart. She's younger than me. And personality-wise, she's the complete opposite as I am. She's very outgoing. She's extremely extroverted. She's extremely happy and fulfilled when she's around people, while oftentimes I am the other side of the spectrum. And I often say that the way I am and how I evolved from what I consider being very introverted to being a bit more outgoing, it's because of her. Having spent so much time with someone and her becoming basically my best friend and my life, my life companion, made that some of her traits which I admired somehow, became part of my own personality. And I think that's one of the things that I will forever be grateful about, having a sibling.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I do have that kind of relationship. You and your sister are how close apart?
4 years.
So you're 4 years apart. So your sister's what?
16.
She's 16.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had never, you're probably watching the episode. I'd never seen her. So I follow her on Instagram and I saw her face for the first time because I thought it was, whenever I looked at the stories in the podcast's Instagram, I thought it was you. And then, because she was always like wearing glasses or something. Okay. And then I saw a picture and I was like, whoa, she's like the same, but no, different.
It's very funny because my sister and I have always been very physically different, also personality-wise. But lately, sometimes there's either a picture or like a position or somebody makes a comment and we're starting to look a lot more alike.
Yeah,
even if we're super different, it's very confusing.
Same thing's happening with me and my brother.
You and your sister are very alike.
Okay, yeah.
Carmen y tú se parecen.
Mi hermana Carmen y yo somos muy parecidos, pero es raro. If you see a picture of me, my brother, and my sister from my mom's side, we are all alike in like different ways. Es como que Carmen es igualita a Juanchi y a mí. Como que de ambos lados. Y Juanchi y yo, dependiendo de a quién le preguntes, nos parecemos o no. Es típico de tipo, sí les veo el parecido, no les veo el parecido.
No, tú, o sea, eres como que the combination of your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
Jose sometimes he makes some gestures, which I thought were only yours, but then I met his dad, and he does the exact same things with his hands and the way he touches the iPad.
Yeah. It's really funny.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then with your mom, also you're physically, like your mom is a lot like your sister physically. They are similar. You also look a lot like your mom.
And I have a lot of things from my mom. My temperament, I think, is a lot from my mom more than from my dad. My dad is a lot like my brother Juanchi. It's funny. I've told him this a couple times before because I tell him you're like your temperament is like mom, like dad, and my temperament is like mom. So you and I, we've been living together for about 20 years. We did better than them.
Oh my God.
Which is really funny. I lived with Juanchi for 14 years in the same bedroom.
Wow.
And then we lived across the hall from each other for what? Since we were 15 till we were since I was 15 till I was from 16 to 18. Mm-hmm. So 2 more years.
And then you moved out, and then he came up.
Yeah, so I moved out, and we didn't see each other for 2 years. And then we lived together for about 1.5 years. So most of my life, the first time I was ever without my brother for a long period of time, more than 2 months, it was when I moved here for the first time.
But wasn't it the first time you were apart from your mom also that long?
No, because I had been apart from my mom whenever I would go on a trip for 2-3 months or something like that. I would be apart from my mom. Like if we came to visit my dad, we generally would come for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't see my mom, or I wouldn't see my dad for a couple of years. But my brother... My sister moved when I was 16 to Germany, but my little brother had been with me all the time, forever, always. Mm-hmm. So that was particularly difficult. We miss each other in that very, ese tipo super machito way, tipo, I miss you, but like, we don't talk about it, but we know we miss each other.
A mí me pasa algo similar, pero con mi hermana, she's a very sensitive, but at the same time, she's very proud. And I am... So you're overflowing of emotions. I'm going to say everything that I think. I'm going to hug you. I'm going to kiss you. I'm going to tell you that I love you all the time, every day, if I do. My sister's not like that. She's like...
Do you remember the time where you you realized she was growing up?
Bueno, that happened a long time ago.
Me too, but I have a memory in my head about it. Do you have, like, I remember clearly the day I thought, he's growing up. And we were like 8, so it was like, it wasn't like, oh my God, he's tall or something. No, it was like, oh, he's no longer a child I have to be careful around. He's like an equal. Did you have that moment?
The thing is, so my sister, she's very, there's some things that are like advanced for her age and the things that she likes to do. And even if we have an age gap of 4 years, sometimes I feel like we don't have any age gap.
Yeah.
So there was a time of turmoil in our relationship when I was like 16 and she was like 12, where we couldn't talk to each other. We would only fight. It's like, I touch you, you scream at me, and then it would be the other way around, and it would be super horrible. And I used to cry because I was so frustrated that I could not keep a relationship with her. But then something happened. She grew up a bit, and we started talking about life. And the moment I started telling her my problems, and she would listen to me and give me advice, I was like,
this girl's old.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that was the moment for me.
Yeah, I remember playing with my brother, and I've told this to my girlfriend a lot, that she didn't have siblings, and so she doesn't know how to play. Like a rough, like wrestle each other and stuff like that, or like tickle people, like tickle fights. She doesn't know how to do that stuff. And I remember that I was always like I always won because I was the older one. And then I remember one day my brother and I were playing lightsabers in my, they had given us lightsabers for Christmas, and we were playing on top of my mom's bed. And I remember clearly my brother just, doing a touche moment, like a touche, like, duh, and I fell to the ground, like I fell off the bed, like dramatically, and I opened my, I opened my mi muñeca, se me abrió la muñeca, my wrist, yeah. I opened my wrist that day, and I remember, no, I opened it, it's weird. It's almost like I broke it, but I didn't. The point is, it hurt a lot, and then I remember like, oh my God, he's starting to win, and like 2 days later, I remember him, I remember seeing his face and saying, oh, he's growing up. I don't remember what it was, I don't remember exactly, but I remember that moment where I turned around. I remember exactly where I was standing, and I remember turning around and seeing my brother and thinking, oh my God, he's growing up. He's like me now. Mm-hmm. And that never really stopped because he was always super mature. He did everything a year earlier because he wanted to do things like me. And so since he did everything a year earlier, he was like a kid my age. He was better at being my age than I was.
Exactly. Because he had you to look up to.
Yeah. Well, he had me to challenge him into being more. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I was bullied a lot when I was in school. My brother never was. My brother was like anti-bully. Like he was just bulletproof. And I never understood why. And it's probably because I bothered him. I didn't bully him, but I did bother him a lot. I'm watching Supernatural with my girlfriend. And it's a story of two brothers, Dean and Sam. And Dean's the older, rough brother who didn't do so good in life, but he bothered the crap out of his brother. And that dynamic that they have reminds me a lot of me and my brother. Okay. Yeah, Maria tells me all the time, she's sitting right there and she's smiling because she knows it's true. She's like, you guys are so much like them. Like, oh my God, you do the same things. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, now you can ask the questions you wanted to ask before.
Well, I was going to ask, so you do, I feel like you define yourself in opposition to your sister in many ways. And then you integrated that. Why? Was that something that just appeared because of your brother and your relationship? Or was it something that naturally came out that way?
The integration?
No, the way that your personalities are. Okay,
this is a very interesting question because I've had a discussion before, and I think the order, if you're the older sibling, if you're the middle sibling, if you're the small sibling, is going to shape your character to a certain extent. Es lo que estás diciendo tu hermano, como que the way in which he's not as sensitive as other people's opinions, or maybe he's a bit more confident, is because he had to survive. He had to ask for things since he was younger because there were other siblings taking attention away from him. And for example, I was not only the first daughter, I was also the first niece and the first granddaughter, so I had all the attention for me, right? Yeah. So whenever I don't get that, whenever I'm not feeling like people are looking at me, or that I have to actually ask for things, it was very hard. And for her it's not. For her it's I want this and I want you to give it to me this way, which I think is a very good trait to have.
Yeah, the assertiveness.
So, and on one side I do think the order in which you're born defines the way in which you deal with life to a certain extent. Like, not for the bad or the good. Like, it's not bad or good. It's just how it is.
Yeah, like it's explanatory, not necessarily dictative.
On the other hand, I do think like we're genetically different in terms of who we are, the things that we like to do. She's very artistic, she's very creative. I think I'm a bit more of a structured person, but maybe that also has to do with the fact that I was born first, you know. I don't think you can ever draw the line.
Yeah, some of it is biologically determined, so some of it is socially, adapted.
And this thing that you mentioned about you and your brother, one being like your dad, like your brother being like your dad and you being like your mom, personality-wise, we have the same thing. It's like, I'm very much like my mom's personality, and she's a lot like my dad's personality. And after all, like, those differences, the reason for which we take along so well, apart from the fact that our parents made that possible, is because we complement each other a lot.
Yeah.
It's like she's all over the place sometimes, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And the other way around. It's like, I can be very chill, so you can be like, no, let's go out, let's do something.
It's probably where we complement each other, because my brother's not the antisocial one, but I'm the extroverted one. My brother's a bit less extroverted. I think nowadays, for both you and your sister and me and my brother, that difference is no longer there that much, because we learn to socialize. Pero ciertamente al comienzo era tipo mi hermano, el grupo de amigos, mi hermano eran mis amigos, and like he then learned how to socialize. But it was really funny at some point because my best friends were his best friends.
Sí, bueno, claro, ustedes también son muy jóvenes. Pues sí.
Muy jóvenes, muy pegados.
Sí, exacto. How was the sharing friends? Were you never like jealous?
No, it was. Look, my best friend, Luis Fertamo, he was always also best friends with my brother. It was just how it was. Yeah, it was natural. I never really got jealous at all about it. It just felt like I had another person with me. Actually, I would often ask my brother for advice because he's a very good judge of character. Like, my brother has a way with people in judging their character and saying,
I don't like
this person, get away. And I'm a bit blind to that sometimes. And my brother has this ability to tell me, like, yo, run.
Stop.
Yeah, like run away fast, and it would work. And if I didn't listen to him, I would often get in trouble. But I would like to point out something that does happen to me with my sister. I'm a middle child. My dad would help my sister with like physics homework. My mom would help my brother with like spelling or something, and I didn't get any help, and I got better grades than both of them. Mm-hmm. Typical middle child story. And it's also funny because I think I had even though I was a lot more like my mom, I admired my dad a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the other way around for my brother. He's a lot like my dad, but he's much more attached to my mom than I am. Mm-hmm. And so it created this dynamic where I was like my mom, but I always it made it so that I had a very good relationship with my dad. After, like, right now I can have a good relationship with my dad because I always saw good stuff from him or around him. Sí. And that was always very nice.
Pues sí. Bueno, and then, like, my question for you, so now that we've discussed our sibling situation, what's the one thing that you admired the most about both the three of your siblings?
Well, I didn't cover Manuela too much. Manu, I spent a lot of time with her during COVID. It dawned on me at some point that it will be the longest amount of time that I will spend with her continuously in my life, because I'm going to probably have a family by the time she graduates.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And not only that, I'm probably going to have a family and a job, and she's probably going to be getting into university, but that year and a half where we spent locked down, I spent every day with her doing something, and that's priceless for me. My little sister is, again, still little, and she's still, like, learning a lot of things and being a person, but she's more resilient than any of us were. Mm-hmm. Like, we had to be resilient a lot older. My brother, my sister, and I, and this is the part about admiration, my sister basically took care of us while my mom had cancer and my dad lived away. Mm-hmm. She took the executive decision, mm-hmm. We took care of each other a lot, but she was the one who would drive us, who would be careful about us, who would, mm-hmm. She did a lot. And she also moved when she was, 19. She moved away to Germany as an au pair to, learn German from scratch. And look, she's been living there for about 6 years, and like none of us could have ever done that. Like, she was brave. Like, to see that example of somebody who could put her life together in front of our eyes and say, like, you don't need, for example, at that time, you don't need dad to move away. Like, you don't need dad's help to go out of the country and have a future if you want one. And you don't need mom's help either. They will help you, but if you really want to do it, you can. And then my little brother, my mom has cancer and everything. He was always, even though it hurt him, he was always
optimistic?
The calm man in the storm, He always knew what to do. He didn't get his nose in trouble. But I think what I admire most about my brother is his ability to see things clearly, a lot clearer than I have. He's a lot braver than I am. And I don't know, he's been the best, like, he's the person who's told me to chill the fuck out the most.
I mean, man, he was. And that's why I love the figure of her.
And then, I don't know, Manuela she's so brave in many ways. And she's a child that is surrounded by adults, but has never stopped being a kid. And that's awesome. I was thinking, like, because she was here before, and when I saw her, she's really surrounded only by people who are way older than her, apart from her friends at school. But she's still a kid.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful thing. It's just like, I'm very curious about how that's going to shape her when she grows up.
Well, curious enough, my girlfriend was always around adults, and the only thing she didn't have was somebody to play with, like, rough housing. But she turned out all right. She's a pretty nice human being.
It wasn't too bad to be an only child.
No, but you did tell me what I admire the most about them, and I think it's that. I think it's the bravery that we've had together is amazing. They are incredibly resilient and wonderful people.
How many children would you like to have?
4.
Jesus.
3 or 4. My girlfriend just jumped out the window, like, ran away.
It was the look. She was like, "What?"
3 or 4. That's not a surprise. She knows.
I know.
What about you? What do you admire the most about your sister?
Mi hermana is super smart. Like, it's amazing how clever she is and how cunning she can be also. She can do anything she wants as long as she puts her mind to it. And since she's very good at that many things, she sometimes cannot decide and she's just like...
Yeah, I know the type, yeah.
It's like, for example, last year she was like, okay, I'm going to put effort into school. And she had like a average of, she had an 18 or 19 GPA out of 20,
Yeah.
When she usually, she'd be like fine with 15. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And she got 20 if she wanted,
Yeah.
And she was like, I understood that if I study more, I get a better grade. If I want to get a 15, I know how much I need to study. If I want to get a 20, I know how much I need to study,
Yeah.
That's the kind of smart she is. She's like...
Yeah. It's, something just flew out the window.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Nothing happened. Yeah. I have that.
Mm-hmm.
I have that. I know that. It's my life. It's my routine. It's
exactly.
Like, how much do I need to study to pass this test?
Mm-hmm. And it's also like, she's very good with music. She's very good with people. She's very good with, like, arts. She has really an incredible set of skills, which I genuinely admire. And anytime I need help with anything that's not something of my comfort zone, like, really, anything from music to social media to visual arts, like my IB visual arts project was as much mine as it was my sister's.
I have a question. Your sister is a lot like me.
No. And she's a lot like my boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I meant. Like, you surround yourself with people like your sister.
Like my sister.
Are you in love with your sister?
No, sí, bueno, o sea, my sister, como que, and it's that, it's like, perhaps we don't say it as much, and we used to not say it as much, but now I feel like she's become more sensitive, and I've always been very open about,
Yeah.
I love you, and I, like, no matter what happens in life, she'll always be my sister. We can live in different places, like, we can be having trouble with our relationship, but the role of each other in our life, that nobody's going to take that away.
Nobody's ever going to be your sister or brother.
Your partners are going to be your life buddies, which is something I always say. But there's always, they're your partners because you chose that. Your siblings, you didn't choose it.
You didn't choose them.
There's nothing you can do to change that. You can change your relationship, but they're going to be there.
You're never going to get away.
Exactly. You're never going to get away with getting away from your siblings, And my sister has always been there for me, and I've always tried to be there for her. And something that makes me very happy, think about my future, is knowing that I really hope that I can always have her there, you know?
Yeah. I have one of the things that I love about my siblings, including the fact that Manuela's small, is that I know we're all going to be around for each other. Like, I know my sister's going to be 18 and she's going to want to go out, or 17, she's going to want to go out, and my dad's not going to let her. And she's going to call and say, Jose, can I go to your house and sleep in your house? And you told that. And I'm going to be like, yes, girl, go out, do whatever you want, have fun. And then I'm also 100% sure that, you know, that my sister was going to call me one day and say, you know, can you come over for a weekend? I do take care of my kids or something like that. Like, I don't know if she wants to have kids, but it did happen that we saw each other, all of us, for the first time in a while the other day. All of us together in Germany, and we talked for so long about the last 5 years of our lives. And we all just had this feeling of gratefulness that we have each other. We felt incredibly lucky. I think that having brothers, having siblings, is an experience that I wouldn't be the same person with, you know?
Es lo que te digo, o sea, they're your forever friends, you know, and I have such a sense of, first, trust for my sister. Every time something that I think is important happens, even if I don't want to talk about it with anybody else, I'm gonna tell her, you know?
Yeah.
She's like my trial. It's like I really could say the most stupid, and I have said the most wild, stupid thoughts and feelings and ideas to her, and she'll be like, okay, are you listening to yourself? Or, okay, I understand, where is it coming from? She's gonna take the time to listen to me. She's gonna take the time to understand. And I try to do the same thing for her. And she's not gonna judge, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know? They love you unconditionally, and no matter who you are, no matter what they tell you, they're always gonna make you feel good about, you know, knowing that you have somebody that loves you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a two-part question so we can wrap up today. The first one, what's the hardest thing your brother has ever, or your sister has ever told you?
My sister always used to joke about me, like, not being cool, you know, and not having friends. And
oh my God.
And now it's
bully.
Something that yeah, my sister, but it's, you know, it's siblings.
Yeah, it's siblings, yeah.
Dynamics, right? And I think there was a point where that maybe did affect me a bit. It's like, or she would mess with the way that I dress, or she would mess with the way that, you know, I did anything that I was insecure about. That would
destroy you.
Yeah. We've grown. And now it happens to me that whenever somebody jokes about it, I'm like, I was trained for this.
Yeah, like, I'm bulletproof. Nothing to lose.
But then I'm like, for what? Like,
who cares?
You know, at this point, you can say anything you want.
My brother once told me that when I was in high school, a lot of people told me like that, you know, I was the fat kid. Mm-hmm. And my brother told me, you were made to believe you were fat. I know. You were never fat. Mm-hmm. And he told me that not less than a year ago, and I was like, and it all came flashing back to me. I was like, that's so true. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing my brother's ever told to me.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but it's the kind of shock that only a brother can give you.
Bueno, y también está esta cosa que, for example, when I was coming here, my sister would be the one who would listen to my rants every single day. Como que every day I had a mental breakdown, and every day it'd be her that I would talk to and I would cry to. I've cried an infinite amount of times. So. Yeah. And she would be the one to tell me, like, look, you can do whatever you want, but I believe that you should go out there and explore. Like, there's a lot out there that you need to see, especially because of the way in which you are. It's like, the fact that it frightens you means that you have to go and you have to do it. Yeah. I believe you're going to do perfectly fine when you leave, and I think it's going to be good for you. And she would be the only one who would tell me that. Yeah, your parents saying no, and you're just like, go get the fuck out of here. And in the end, the one that I end up, like, you know, the voice that I had in my head was hers. Yeah. And she's a baby, you know, and I still listen to baby advice. So I think that says a lot about how much, like, yeah, your sister's is probably like my brother. I always tell my friends, like, you like me. Like, yeah. I know that you like me as a person. Wait till you meet my brother. You're going to like him more. Yeah, the same goes for my sister. People meet my sister and they're like, she's so awesome and kind. And
Yeah, my brothers. I genuinely think that out of all my brothers, my siblings, I'm probably the least amazing one. Not in a bad way, but I see so many amazing things in them that I can't see the same amount of things in myself. And I feel like we all probably feel the same way, except Juanchi. I think Juanchi's way too big of him, like full of himself. No, I'm kidding. He
looks like the most humble.
Okay, and
being in the world.
He is pretty humble. Yeah. My last one, I think, the funniest story you have with your sister.
Say yours, because I think I have way too many.
Me too, but I have more siblings than you, and I have to pick and choose. With Manuela, it was definitely one time when it's a cute story. It was also really funny. We were playing in her room, roughhousing, and then she hit her. Se rompió la barbilla really hard. I have the same scar, her chin, and she told me, "Am I gonna die?" It was super cute. Yeah. It was really funny, but I'd been through it. It happened to me too, and so I calmed her down and I told her like, "No, Manu, don't worry. Look, this is what's gonna happen." And I would keep her chin up, and I told her, "This is what's gonna happen. They're gonna take you to the doctor, and you're gonna feel like they're doing like this to your skin." And then that is going to be there, and he's going to hold your hand, and they're just going to stitch it together. And I told her, the only thing you have to do is not pull it out. What do you mean? It's like, when I was little, cuando yo era chiquito, me cosieron acá, y yo me los arrancaba. I told her, like, the only thing you really can't do is just pull it out. She was like, but is it going to hurt? A little bit. It's not going to hurt that much. Dad knows what he's doing, etc. And she was like super calm. But the moment where she said, "Am I gonna die?"
Like, oh, no.
Oh, baby, cute.
Coño, no sé cuál es mi historia más cómica, pero, o sea, algo que sí puedo decir for sure is that, o sea, the person who's seen me do the most stupid things in the world.
Oh, definitely.
The silliest things in the world. The most silly faces, sounds, comments, situations, outfits. It's been her.
Yeah.
Like, she's seen pretty much
every facet.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then, it's like every time I have like those moments with my boyfriend nowadays, I think a lot about her.
Me too.
Whenever I have like the will to be as vulnerable with him, I think I owe a bit of that confidence to having had her in the first place to try it out with.
Yeah.
I always use my relationship with my sister as a reference of how much I would like to have like the trust with someone, and like the ¿cómo se llama? La complicidad.
Yeah, la complicidad, no, déjalo así, la complicidad.
La complicidad, no sé cómo se dice.
Si no has escuchado la complicidad cultura profética, por favor, escúchala.
Y al final es eso, o sea, es como que I'm not gonna talk to her every day. We're not gonna, be all the time knowing about what happens with the church. Pero si pasa algo, she's gonna be the first one to know. I'm usually also one of the first people to get to know what's going on.
Yeah.
We catch up every once in a while, and we just have like such a deep life conversation. It never stops to amaze me how much she thinks. It's not like people can underestimate others, but like whenever somebody else underestimates my sister, it's like you really have like.
Yeah, the same thing happens with my brother. Yeah. I have that experience, and I think the funniest thing the one of the weirdest moments that I've had as a sibling was when my brother and I went to a model United Nations. Mm-hmm. Our delegation, we were 8 people. We were 8 delegations. Like we were 8 people, 8 teams. Let's put it that way. Some single, some double, and we won. No, we were 9, and we won 7 awards. Mm-hmm. 7 out of 8 out of 9 awards. 7 out of 8 or 6 out of whatever. The point is, the only 2 people that didn't win were my brother and me. I still maintain that I really deserved to win my award, and my faculty advisors told me like, "Bro, you had that in the bag," and I was like, "Man, I think I did too, but if I didn't, MUN is like that." But I remember my brother not getting the award, and I remember that it made me sadder, having to hold that in and having to be strong for him. That's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done with my brother. But also, on the other hand, one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me was my, I don't even know if I should tell that. Sorry, so I'm going to change it. One time, one of the spookiest things that ever happened, my brother, my sister, and I, we are very sensitive to energies and stuff. And I remember one time, my mom had cancer and she wasn't really up for going out. And we got in my mom's car and we were like, oh my God. We all thought it. We were like, this car's going to break down. And we said it to each other, like before we went out. And then we went out to get ice cream and we went up like in Colinas de San Román, que es tipo toda una subida. And we got to the top of it and the car started to smoke. And we were like, oh my God. And when we got down, we managed to get back to the house because it was really close and we were in like a downhill. So it was perfect. And when we got back to the house, we were like, we all knew this was going to happen. Like we all knew this. And then I don't know, it was a really weird moment between my brother, my sister and I. It's just like, we understood what was going to happen. Yeah. That's also amazing.
No, tipo with my sister, I just enjoy doing everything. You know, it's like we had our road trips and I adored. We joked around. She would complain about things that I would do. She also has a very strong character and sometimes very hard to deal with. But
same. My brothers are the same.
Just leave her alone, and I am the same.
Yeah, me too.
My days. And you know what? She's usually the best one to deal with this. Like, she's usually the one that knows what to say and when to say it.
Yeah.
And what to do and where to take me. She's gonna know how to make me feel better, and that's another reason for which I love her. Sometimes she has way too big of an ego, and I'm like, I've had too much of you today, but you know.
But it's your brother, your sister, so you say like, I love you, but can you please stop?
I really hate you. Who do you think you are? And then in the bottom of my heart, like, yeah, I still love you, but like, I'm not gonna tell you that right now because you cannot believe you're as good as you think you are.
Also, I don't know if you have that experience, but partying with your brothers, awesome.
I've had it very few times.
No, I've had way too many parties with Wanchi and a couple with Cardamom, and they're always awesome. It's always really great.
And also like family time for us. It's like when we're actually like the four of us just alone having, you know, just vibing or on vacation. I'm very happy of the family that I've got and what I get to live with them and talk about with them. So
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We love siblings.
We do. And, you know,
no one
gets away with anything.
Thank you very much for listening to us.
We will see you again next Monday. And remember, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. Thank you.
That's nice.
How's it going?
I liked it. It was fun.
Wholesome as hell. I'm going to call my brothers now.
Tipo, yo casi me pongo a llorar.
Yo también, como 4 veces.